And welcome back, everybody, to another edition of Next Gen Jets. I'm your host Jack Cotter today, alongside my co-host Josh Wolliver, and we're going to be breaking down some new and inside news for the Jets today. Josh, how are
Excited
you
to get
doing?
started with you all.
How are
I'm
you doing
pretty
today?
good, Jack. How are you?
I'm good, man, and I'm excited to do our second episode of our Friday edition of Next Gen Jets. Josh.
Yeah, sorry, I was lagging a little bit there on the start. We got a lot to unpack today. We're talking free agent moves that the Jets just made. We are talking NFL draft, maybe even a couple possible trade situations. But let's get started with the big news, the big free agent signing this week. It was Josh Reynolds coming into New York on a 1 year deal. Just your immediate reactions, Jack.
I mean, at least it adds depth to the receiver room. I don't really like the signing, though. I mean, for me, he's the closest, at least the Jets have right now, to a true wide receiver two. And even then, he's not even a true wide receiver two. That's really how bad our receiver core is right now. And I'm a little disappointed with the Jets front office and not being able to get a true wide receiver two on this team. And I guess you could say Reynolds, like I said, is as of right now the receiver two on this team. And I feel like that's not a good look, right? Having Reynolds be your wide receiver too. Yes, he's had some upside with the Lions and the Rams, but we just haven't seen that for the past couple seasons, right? He hasn't. He may throw in some good blocks here and there, but overall, with consistency, with like his route running, he creates no separation whatsoever.
Yep.
I don't like his. I don't after watching some tape on him, I really don't like how he can separate, especially on like some seam routes, some deep routes. He cannot create separation. Josh, what are your thoughts on Josh Reynolds there?
Yeah, well, he's gonna come in and after they cut Alan Lazard, right? He's really like maybe wide receiver three uh, region here at this point in his career. He's extremely cheap, right? 1 year, $2.75 million. Obviously, not all that's gonna be guaranteed. So he's cheap, but you're right. I just don't see that much. He brings speed. That's for one. He's great on deep balls, and you can see that with his yards after the catch. It was at 13.4 last season, and in the open field, he can run like a cheetah. But other than that, I mean, let's look at his weaknesses. He really lacks contested catching, physicality, and route running, and all three of those are huge to becoming a good wide receiver in this league. He's not hard to tackle in open field. He goes down easily. So the tape shows he has a lot of flaws, and to Detroit receiving threats around him. But what when with only Johnson out there as the wide receiver and I don't know.
Sorry, everybody. We're just having a little bit of technical difficulties. Josh, you're freezing up on us a little bit, but I get what you're saying, right? He, like you said, he's not that easy or not that hard to tackle, right? And there's a lot of separation, or there's a lot of how do I say? There's like I said with Corley, there's still a huge gap in Garrett Wilson and Josh Reynolds, right? I don't like. I remember Connor saying earlier, right? He said that Garrett Wilson's not even. He said he's above average, right? And I can see where he's coming from, but I don't agree, right? I feel like, especially with the seasons that he's had, putting up three straight 1,000 yard seasons over the course of his career so far, and especially with like what 7, 8 different quarterbacks that he's played with now,
Yes.
I'm honestly impressed that that's been the case, especially and even with a starting quarterback with Aaron Rodgers, and who didn't really have the best 2024 season, he was still able to put up great numbers for the Jets. Although he maybe didn't have, I think he had what 6, 7 touchdowns. I think believe. I
I'll
believe that's what it
stat
was.
check that. But yeah, he's just
Yeah,
been all around a really good wide receiver. As a young guy, he's developed well. You like what you've seen? I'd agree with that.
yeah. And I just feel like if we were to get a wide receiver too, you'd have to get a guy like Ted McMillan or Emeka Ibuka, maybe even Matt Golden in the draft if we trade back eventually.
Yeah, I'm looking at his 2024 stats right now. 7 touchdowns this past season, if that's what you were wondering. But yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, he showed you good stuff.
Josh, we can't hear you, bro. I think you're muted.
Josh, we lost you with the audio there for a second. Try restarting your computer and hop back on. Josh, Jack, what were you talking about here quickly so I could hop in for a minute?
I was talking about how still after the Jets signed Corley to a $5 million contract.
You mean Reynolds?
Yeah, sorry, Reynolds. I was still talking about how he's not, as of right now. I would say he's the Jets wide receiver two, but he's not a true wide receiver two in my opinion.
He's
He
a
was
3-4.
solid. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, right? And I still feel like I remember mentioning this to you a couple of weeks ago, how there's a huge gap between Corley and Wilson. There's still a huge gap between Reynolds and Wilson. And I know, like you said that he wasn't really he said you said he was an above average receiver. I mean, I could see where you're coming from, but I like I said,
Reynolds?
no, Wilson. And I can see where you're coming from, but I really like what I've seen over the past few years with him, right? With the amount of bad quarterbacks that he's played with, still putting up 1,000-yard seasons and still being able to produce like lightning on that receiver core. I think that he's in a top 10 receiver in my opinion. But we're getting off track here. We're still saying with
Yeah,
Josh Reynolds.
I get that. I think we got Josh back here. Let's see if his Wi-Fi is good. Josh, we got you.
Yeah, sorry about that. But I mean, my point was that with Garrett Wilson, before I got logged off here, is that with Garrett Wilson, he can be like dynamic, but with the guys behind him, wide receiver 2 and 3 being Tyler Johnson and Josh Reynolds, what can you really expect, right? When you have no one else in that room.
For sure, 1,000%. I get what you're saying there, guys. Appreciate you all tuning in. Smash the like button, hit subscribe, throw all your questions in the chat here. You can call into the show with the pinned comment. We'll go over to the phone lines. We got our guy Indy Jets, who's up here on the show. Indy, how you doing?
My guy Connor, how you doing, young fellers?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So I see it's like 2 against 2. Me and Connor against you two. It's almost that's the way it is.
Let's go, Indy. Oh, by the way, I meant to tell you, I'm going to the draft party. I got my tickets locked in, so I'll see you there.
Wonderful. Can't wait to see you. Yeah, it'll be. So I assume the your mom and dad's coming. They're not just going to throw you in a cab.
My dad's taking me.
Yeah, good. That's good news. So
For sure.
I want to touch base on the McMillan draft issue. If we draft, I personally believe he should be our number 1 pick over anybody, over tackle, over tight end. And the one knock that people have is what? That he's slow, right?
And he can't separate. That's the thing. He's not physical enough, according to some people.
Yeah, okay, so I'm going to talk about somebody that you guys probably have heard of and never got to see play. Okay, they said the same things about him coming out of college. He was slow, never ran never in any of his 40 times was never under a 4.5. Wasn't a super big guy.
Mm-hmm.
Never. I mean, even on some of his 40 times that they did clock him on, he ran a 4.7. That's slow.
Yeah.
Some guy this guy that played for San Francisco back in the way back in the day, Jerry Rice.
Yeah.
Okay. So, when somebody says, you guys look at all these numbers. That's what we do. That's we look at the shuffle time. We look at all this stuff. I look at a guy that went in and played as a true freshman and did pretty decent. Around 40 catches, 700 yards as a true freshman. Right. As a true sophomore, 90 catches, 1,400 yards. As a true junior last year, 86 catches and 1,300. I mean, almost duplicated his sophomore year. That's consistency.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So for somebody to say you got 1,400 yards and 1,300 yards in what, is it 12 or 13 games? I don't remember how many he played. He's got to get separation somewhere.
Yeah.
You don't get those kind of numbers based off of not being able to get separation. Right. So I think that when you're comparing, you're looking at all these stats. It's kind of like the whole Aaron Rodgers, and if you guys, I assume you guys follow Jake a lot, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Jake was one of them that is just pro Rodgers.
Yeah,
because he threw for 4,000, almost 4,000 yards and 28 touchdowns, and that's what he looks at. But you guys are stat guys. I've seen you. I mean, you guys know your numbers probably better than 90% of the people that watch Jake's show. You guys are that in tune.
Appreciate you.
And but if you look at that numbers, one number that really stands out to me of over Aaron Rodgers was in the I hear Jake say all the time, "Oh, Rodgers played so much better in the second half of the season." That's you've heard that numerous times from a lot of people, right?
Played well in 3 games against 3 bottom 5 defenses.
Okay,
No
right.
accuracy,
You
no
take those
mobility.
3 games out out of the last 8 games. Rodgers couldn't generate a touchdown in the second half of any of those games.
And
Right.
it was all checkdowns.
Yeah.
What he couldn't even generate a touchdown. He couldn't get Brees Hall close enough for a touchdown. He couldn't get Garrett. I mean, we couldn't generate a touchdown in the second half of
Beautiful.
5 of those 8 games.
Yeah.
That's not telling me that he played better. So that 28 touchdowns was just kind of like,
Exactly. And I will add this before I hop back off here in a second. This is what I'll say about Rodgers. 28 touchdowns. Let's keep this in mind. Second most passing attempts in the entire National Football League. Also, let's keep in mind every single time they were at the 2-yard line and it was a run play and Braylon Allen was supposed to get the ball and trot into the end zone and he audibled out of it to run a play action and stat pad his numbers too. I think people forget about those as as well. So that's
And
what I
that's-
wanted to contribute.
And that's the problem when he got.
Can't hear you, Josh.
Muted, Josh. Here,
Josh.
Wi-Fi.
He got the offense tailored to him. That was the problem.
Yeah. Right.
well, and also people looked at Aaron Rodgers as the legacy Aaron Rodgers, not today's Aaron Rodgers. They looked at 2021 Aaron Rodgers and think, boy, if we just had that, and he just wasn't that guy,
No.
you know. So, so on the third and last topic, I want to talk about the Garrett Wilson comment. Oh, I so love it. I am with Connor. Connor and I just
Really?
yeah, okay. And Gary and I, if you watch the Jake show, Gary and I, you know, we were talking about this. You know, they say he's a top 10 wide receiver. Okay, a top 10 wide receiver. A top 10 wide receiver in what stat?
Exactly.
Okay. So
Top
he's
10 receiver with what quarterback? Yeah, exactly.
yeah. You know, I'm not even sure if Garrett Wilson is as good as DJ Moore. Think about that.
That's
Yeah.
what I think, Jack.
I think.
Well, Jack, you love Garrett Wilson. You think he's like
All right.
Okay, but
Let's
if you
talk
look,
about it.
I want you to look at DJ Moore. Would you think DJ Moore is worth 100? I mean, he got paid $110 million, and they overpaid for him.
He's not
Yeah.
worth that. The
4
way I-
years, 120.
Yeah, the way I look at it and say who's better, if in any team, same exact price, who would you rather take? Garrett Wilson or DJ Moore? Every single NFL team is saying Garrett Wilson. That's where I draw the line. But I take a guy like Puka Nacua over Garrett Wilson. I
could
take a
see
guy
that.
like AJ Brown over Garrett Wilson. I take CeeDee Lamb over Garrett Wilson. Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill, all the
Yes.
obvious ones. He averages out to be a top 12, top 15 receiver. And
Yeah.
my whole argument that went crazy and everyone, called me crazy for, and I was in 2 rumbles today, whatever, was the fact that I said, I don't think he's worth the 4 years, $120 million today. That's all I said.
Okay.
And
Yes.
that's a fair argument. You watch the eye test, you look at the eye test, you can look at the film too. I mean, the perfect example of someone who looks awful with the numbers and someone who looks like crap on film is Brees Hall. Perfect example
Yeah,
too.
his vision's absolutely awful.
Yeah,
I think-
and I was with you when I was actually with you a year ago when they drafted Braylon Allen to say this is the beginning of the end of Brees Hall.
I think Braylon's overrated. I'm going to be honest. I think he has the potential to be a solid player, but what did he do last season? He's nothing more than a short yardage back. And
Well,
that's
and I get that to a point,
Yeah.
but you have to stop and think. You had Rodgers, who had the coaching staff under his thumb. They weren't going to give. And if you look, another really interesting stat that's probably irrelevant to most people is, how many times we ran the ball back to back
Yeah.
4 times. Something.
in the season. Yeah, it's terrible. So you know that if they handed the ball, as a defensive coordinator, if I know this, if they hand the ball off once, what's the next play? The next play, it doesn't matter if it's 2nd and 1, they're passing the ball. That's exactly what we did.
And it's to Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, toward the end. So
More speed.
what does that tell you? What do you tell your defensive ends to do if you know it? If you know 100% it's a pass play, you're going after the quarterback.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right.
And
That's
so I
another
think that
thing. Speaking of
Yeah.
rushing the quarterback, I'll hop off here in a second, but another thing I wanted to add that seemed to go over crazy, which I don't get how it's crazy if you're watching the game again, similar to Brees Hall, you can look at the game and you can look at the numbers too. Will McDonald's 2024 season was so overrated. It's not even funny, Andy. This is a guy you put in on third down blitzes to go after and sack the quarterback, and he filled that role effectively. Like 10 sacks is solid, but I mean, Jet fans are acting like 10 sacks is a 15, 16 sack season. 10
Yeah.
sacks is solid, especially for the Jets bar. That's really, really good. But you look around the rest of the league, you see edge rushers doing that, on a religious basis every single season.
Right.
Will McDonald got 10 sacks when he was he's nothing more than a third down pass specialist. That's it. A third down sack artist, whatever you want to call him. And he can't stop the run too. It wasn't consistent, can't stop the run. Third down guy, 3 strikes, you're out. I mean, that's overrated at a T for me.
Right.
he's a better version of Michael Clemens.
He's faster. He's fat because Clemens is an interior guy. Like the fact
Right.
that they lined him up once they tried to use him like John Franklin Myers. That was Jeff Ulbricht's way of we lost John Franklin Myers. He could, what's his name? Michael Clemens could be this multi-positional guy we kind of plug in on the inside, and he could provide you some depth on the outside too. I mean, that one of the most frustrating plays all season long for me, watching it over again, was that week 6 play to end the game when Clemens
Allen, yeah.
catch up to Josh Allen. I feel like we've seen that so many times. The defensive line last year was super, super slow. Indy, I put a column out about this for Jets X Factor. Zadarius Smith is my guy. He's still available on the free agent market. 11 sacks last season, double digits the past 5 or so years, something of that nature. I'm big on adding Zadarius Smith.
Yeah, I'm right there with you on all your points, Connor. And so I just wanted to hop on here. I know you guys you and Connor been all going back and forth a little bit. You agree, disagree, whatever. But I think that I just wanted to give Connor my support on this, and for us older guys that have suffered through the pain of death longer than you guys have, we just see it we see this same cycle over and over again. And you guys are seeing some of the things for the first time, and we're like, oh, here we go again.
Yeah.
And so, but I'm really proud of you guys, you and Connor, and all 3 of you. You got this show going.
Thank you.
I can't wait till see what you guys do when the Jets are winning, just like with Jake's show.
Wait.
Yeah, and have a winning season. The end of the year, we have a winning season, a playoff game, maybe 2. I don't know what the Jets channels would be like if we have to celebrate a Super Bowl. Can you imagine what the Jets channels are going to be like? You guys are just going to blow up.
Yeah.
You got to get your internet fixed.
Yeah.
But I look forward to the years that you guys have ahead of you. I just see great things coming out of all 3 of you. I think the show is going to blow up. Hold on, because I think the ride's going to be fun. Great job, guys. Keep it up.
Thanks,
Thank
Indy.
you so much, Andy. Again, guys, Indy Jets calling into the show. Great caller as always.
Great call.
All right, Josh.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to touch on that Will McDonald point. Just circle around. Thanks for the call, Indy. Appreciate the kind words. But yeah, we talked about how that 10-sack season was so overrated, and I think for me it was just because of how low the expectations were after a terrible rookie year. He got drafted at 15 and did nothing. So then the fact that he turned it around and had a double-digit sack year, I think that's what really blew people out of the water. And they were like, oh my gosh, he can actually do stuff, as opposed to, what did he have, 2 sacks in his rookie year? Maybe
Something
not
like
even,
that,
1.5 or something. After being the 15th pick, so that was pretty ridiculous, and I think that's why
he's just got to work on his rushing attack, right? Yeah, it's his run stopping, right? He said he's got to get better at that, especially I don't know. It's just I hope he can turn it around this year with Steve Wilks. I think he'll fit well with Steve Wilks' defense. At least I really hope. But it's just something that he has to address again if he wants to become this star. He wants to prove why he was the 15th overall pick. I think he's really got to prove that this season, especially coming into a ride or die season for him, I believe. And one thing I want to get in with you, Josh. Right? It's about it's about It's about like I want to touch base on the Jets. Supposedly, their over under is 5.5 wins this season. Right?
Yep.
What are your thoughts on this? Because I've been trying to get this off my chest again. Right? For me, I'm just gonna say it real quick. I don't agree. Right? A lot of people are saying we're gonna go 5 wins or under. We're going to go 7 wins at best. But I'm going to say realistically, we go 6-11, right? I think that's fine. I'm going to say over 5.5 wins. 6-11 sounds pretty good right now, especially looking at our schedule right now, our roster currently right now. Yes, we need some receiver holes. I guarantee you they'll fill it out at least somewhere in the draft somewhere. If we get a solid guy in the draft, build some guys maybe around, get a solid right tackle maybe later in the draft. If we trade up for Cam Ward, Matthew.
No.
I don't know if you're serious or not, but Cam Ward is the definitive quarterback 1 in this draft. There's no need, though. Absolutely no need. Absolutely.
Why in the world would you get Justin Fields and have Tyrod Taylor and as a third string option for the future have Jordan Travis and possibly sell your future for Cam Ward?
I don't think Travis is going to step foot on an NFL field at least until when I mean that.
Probably not
I mean
this season, but they have a chance.
He'll be ready,
an
but
outside chance with something.
He's not going to be. I don't think he's going to do anything with the Jets. I think he's off this roster at least by next year. That's just what I think, though.
I mean, him and his agent were mad because reports, Rich Cimini, obviously we don't know what's happening. We're not inside the building, but yeah, the old coaching staff tried to rush him back, and he didn't like that. Guys, real quick before we get into or continue with this topic, make sure you smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, both free ways to support the channel. Get in some super chats if you can. Call into the show, pinned comment. Connor's back on here. Connor, you want to tell us a little something?
I wanted to touch on the take about wins, Jack. You said you think they're going 6-11, but they're ceiling 7-10.
Yeah, I don't see it looking at our schedule right now, and I know you say schedule doesn't mean anything. I think it does, especially looking at rosters right now. With our roster currently right now, I don't see us really going past 7 wins, especially if, we don't have that easy of a schedule. We have I would say we have a mid schedule at all.
We have the 7th easiest in the league.
Yeah.
Well, still, I'm just saying.
Don't mean anything. Looking at last year, no one predicted the Jets to do any worse than 10-7, and they ultimately won 5 games. Schedules do not mean anything when it comes to predicting NFL records. Also, Jack, a ceiling is not supposed to be what you think is going to happen. It's supposed to think every
that's
single
not what
thing.
I think is going to happen. I'm talking about that's the most.
You just said, that means ceiling.
That's within one of what your prediction
That's you mean ceiling. The ceiling is supposed to be the most you think. Everything goes in the right direction. Justin Fields plays like an all-pro. Everything's working. That's what your ceiling should be.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see.
They're not going over 500 either way.
Who knows? Where were we in the chat here? I wanted to
go with the Steelers approach, maybe.
Yeah. Wait here. Where were we in the chat
Just
here?
The defense
Ryan says, temper that disappointment. 2025, the Jets are literally paving the way for Rodgers in all the void contract years.
Yeah, overall, if the Jets are, I don't really get what this comment is. I need a little bit of elaboration what this comment is saying, real quick. But I can see
saying the Jets are paying Rodgers not to be on the roster, and they're taking on
because it's his Z cap. It's his Z cap, right? Isn't it $14 million this season? Then they're taking on the rest of that $35 million next season.
Correct.
I'm not sure how much that will, that debt will leave the Jets, whether it be for the worse next year, especially because if we're signing not a lot of big name free agents this year, if we have a lot of money next year, then I believe half of that's just going to be half of that $35 million is just going to be wasted on paying Rodgers. So I really, I'm concerned for next year's cap space.
Well, here's the thing, Brian.
Jimmy, go ahead.
First of all, you had to get rid of Rodgers. We could talk about this for hours, but that's a move that had to be made. So, yes, you're losing cap here, but the whole point of what Muji has come in here and done this offseason is get guys on cheap deals, get guys that are young that won't cost you that much. We see it with this Brian Reynolds signing. Yes, it's not going to completely fix the hole. It's more of a tape underwater situation. It'll eventually have to come off, but 1 year, $2.75 million, I guess does a little something for very, very cheap. So what the Jets are going to try to do is get a couple guys that aren't going to permanently replace it. That's what we're seeing with Justin Fields, in my eyes, who is a bridge quarterback to developing a young guy later on. But you get these guys in here just to fill a couple years, get a couple good draft picks in, draft a receiver, draft a tight end, I mean, you have a pretty good offensive line right now. You would really help to add a right tackle because right now I think the starting right tackle today would be Carter Warren, and we've seen
Shakluma
that.
Okorafor. That's who it would be.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. You just don't have a good option there at tackle opposing Olu Fashanu, so you get that done. But bottom line is, you had to pay Rodgers. We knew these void years would come because of what they overcommitted to when they first got him and all the hype that was around him. And inevitably, he wins 5 games and plays 4 snaps in his first year.
Right.
Jimmy, Josh has a question for Jimmy has a question for you. You ready to see it?
Hit me.
He says, Josh, did you get any sleep, my guy? You look like you need sleep. Lay off the coffee.
No, actually, I had a school sleep-in day today, Jimmy. I think it's just the lighting.
Yeah.
We got to school an hour and a half late today.
Nice.
I was watching March Madness last night, though.
Good
That's
to hear.
nice.
I couldn't care less about college basketball, especially in a year I didn't even fill out my bracket. I don't think I've literally watched a second of one of these games. So
I don't really like
tuned out with
watching
my
March
Nets.
Madness.
I'm tuned out with March Madness. I'm tuned out with my Nets. All I see, literally get the notification. Drew Timmy, who dropped a 50 bomb on Long Island, had a double-double tonight. So, hey, small victories for BK, but
Absolutely.
nothing much. Brian comes in. One more thing I wanted to touch on before I get into Brian's comment. I think the fact that Jordan Travis's agent, Dedrick Jackson, told Rich Cimini that the Jets, quote, rushed him back. There's no way. And this sounds like a disgruntled agent.
Terrible relationship.
Travis didn't rehab in time. The Jets followed the exact rehab plan provided by Travis's doctor. And just look at the state of the roster overall. Rodgers didn't miss a single snap due to injury. You had Tyrod Taylor, who was a more than serviceable backup behind him. You had Adrian Martinez. I talked about this for a while. I'm not even going to waste any more words talking about this nonsense, but certainly not.
Right.
Joshua says Membu at 7, tight end, wide receiver, and D-line rounds 2 through 4.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. I can see where he's coming from. I get we need a solid tackle, but I feel like at this point in the draft, I really think, in my opinion, I believe the Jets should go after a weapon, right? I guess yes, you signed Josh Reynolds. That's not enough. No way that is enough for
going Tet.
I'm going Tyler Warren here, right? And I'm going to stand by my opinion for the rest. And I hope we get to see it in the NFL. I get people are saying he only started showing this last season. That does not mean he's going to show it, that he's not going to show it in the NFL, right? Like, he was starting, I think, all 3 years. I believe he's a junior or senior, I think. Either one of them.
Senior.
He's been showing, he's been on the field all 4 years, I believe, in his college career, or at least most of it. And, right, he may not have shown it until last season. And, but once he started showing his explosive nature last season, I don't see why any team would pass up on him, right? And he may not have shown it till it's too late. I don't think it was too late even. Everybody was talking about him last season. I don't get why a team would just pass up on that 4-1 package. I would say, right? You have that 4-1 package. He can block well. Obviously, drive guys down the field. He catch well. Obviously, he can throw a bomb too. His throws are absolutely.
Are you
amazing.
serious?
Yeah.
You actually think he's gonna throw the ball?
He's gonna throw. And listen,
Alan
he's a great
Lazard
runner as
completed
well.
a pass in the NFL. Come on, give me a break. He's a 2-1 player. He's an okay blocker. He's an okay receiver. In my eyes, one of the most overrated players in this year's draft class.
You're going too far with it. He's not all right. He's great at both. I don't know about 4-1.
1 year. That's all I'm gonna say. 1 year of solid production, and it's all of a sudden.
Okay, and it was an absolute breakout year.
Okay, how about you want to go with someone maybe who's been consistent throughout the entirety of their collegiate career, like a guy, Tet McMillan, who's been very, very productive all 3 seasons at Arizona State. And I see, Jack, you're trying to pull up the stats. Trust me, no. Warren was not good until year 5. So Harold Fannin Jr. from Bowling Green is my guy in this year's draft. Him or Colston Loveland. Just Warren in round 1. I'm at this point, I'm leaning.
I'd rather go Membu.
What about Burrow in 2019?
Joshua
He really only had 1 year of solid success. What about another guy like
who really had 1 year of solid success?
Burrow. He really 2019.
That's a quarterback. That's a quarterback.
I get it, yes, but you're saying that a player that really was only around 1 year and had only success and was playing right throughout their collegiate career, and Burrow playing in 2018, right when he did play, obviously he's shown some signs of upside, but he improved so much in that 2019 season, ended up being the first overall pick, and is now
You can't
striving in the
compare a
NFL.
quarterback to a tight end.
But you didn't say a quarterback, right? You specifically said a player in the NFL that cannot.
Jack.
That was
I'm talking about
And
Tyler
LeBron
Warren.
James skipped college, so
I'm talking about Tyler Warren, Jack. I'm talking about Tyler Warren here.
I know, but I'm talking about overall NFL players, right? You could have a great last season in college and still be great in the NFL level. You don't have.
I'm
I
not
get
saying
his
he can't be
consistency
great,
is
but I don't
key.
want to take a tight end who had a 5th-year breakout season right away. And I see, Jimmy, what you're saying about him being a converted being a converted quarterback. Still, he didn't have that breakout season until last year. I'm looking for better value at the tight end position overall. Ted McMillan's my pick, and it's not changing.
and I'm looking for solidifying
solid.
the offensive line long term, getting Armand Mambo. I mean, I get Ted McMillan because the wide receiver room needs so much help right now, and obviously he
It's
can be
more
a
than the
star
line, though.
playmaker. But improving this offensive line right now in a year where you don't need to win, you don't need another star wide receiver. I
Yes,
feel like
yes.
that's just going to build for success later down the line.
I think
Brian
he
says
needs to
anyone thinking that the free
someone
agent signings in the 2025 draft to fill the holes is going to be an upset this year.
Yeah, if you can't fill the holes, especially this year, I don't know how you aim for success for next year, right? Especially if we, don't have if we have a lot of cap space. But if let's say we go down the same road, who's free agent for wide receiver next year? By the way, I know there's a few big names that are
I'm
on there.
started thinking
I have to
about
look at
that.
that. Have to look at that after
I'm
this, but I
not
know
here.
I think I've seen a couple big names out there somewhere. But if you say, I think what the Jets are trying to do here is maybe save some money as well. I think that could also be a key aspect for next season. Like Josh said, he sees him as a bridge quarterback, so maybe they go out and get their guy in the draft next season, whether that be Garrett Nussmeier or someone like that in that rank. But if this is the case, right, then maybe they're saving all this cap space and paying. Maybe they're going to start paying big guys next year, right? Maybe
Cap
that's when.
space doesn't convert until the next season, so that wouldn't mean.
Yeah.
And
That
the
wouldn't
salary
have-
cap would expand.
Yeah, Josh, I want to get your thoughts here before I give my take.
Anyone thinking that the free agent signings in the 2025 draft to fill all holes is going to be upset this year? I don't really understand what this means.
He's saying if the Jets don't fill all their holes entering the season, are you going to be upset?
Oh, no, because I don't view this as a year where you need to be successful. You're coming off a season with Super Bowl aspirations, and you ended up with 5 wins. So there's going to need to be a grace period here before you start ramping up for another playoff push. I'm not going to be upset. And I think that the whole point of this year is to try and reset the roster. That's why they cut Adams. That's why they cut Rodgers. That's why they're going to cut Lazard. Get all these old guys out. You have a entirely new coaching regime, and you have a new front office, a new head of the front office. So everybody's out. All the new guys are in. You can't expect to win this year. And if that means that free agent holes aren't being filled this year to save room for guys next year and to build for a better future down the line with talent, I don't mind that at all.
Jack, I'm going to push back on something you said, that you don't think the Jets are going to fill all their holes, and if they don't fill it, they're not going to have any success. I completely disagree with that. Look at what the Commanders did this past season. One of the best coached football teams overall, and on the offensive side and on the defensive side of the football. They got a quarterback in there who thrived. If the coaching's competent, you have weapons around Justin Fields, you have a competent defense. Justin Fields is able to be a game manager, a facilitator, doesn't lose you football games. 9-8 isn't the craziest thing in the world.
But we only have a weapon right now. We don't have a solid weapon that I trust.
You have 7 rounds of the
Wilson.
NFL draft with multiple
I get it.
playmakers.
I get it. I'm saying, but if we pass on Ted McMillan or a guy like Emeka Egbuka or Matt Golden, maybe the best at that point you can get is one of the best at that point you can get is Isaiah Bond, and maybe he's not
Jaden
even
Higgins.
Yeah,
Jaden Higgins.
still,
I'd
rather just go.
Jalen Noel.
I'd rather go for a guy like Tyler Warren or Ted McMillan to really have my trust in that. Right?
What about Luther Burden?
I think he's overrated a little bit. I mean, I like him. I don't think he's mid first round worthy though. I'd take Golden. I'd take Egbuka or Golden over him in the first.
Yeah, I mean,
Egbuka or
you
Golden
can't take
over
him at
Pet?
7, but
No, over Burden.
Oh, Burden, no. Burden's awful. He's a guy who could just pretty much play in the slot, drops the ball. No thank you on Burden for me.
Mhm. Yeah.
I'm passing on Burden. Let me
big time playmaker though.
slot guy. Where were we in the chat here? But guys, appreciate you tuning in. Smash the like, subscribe. Keep the questions coming. We're going to keep pulling them up. You can call into the show, pin comment, memberships, super chats, Also a great way here on the show. Indy comes in with a hot take. Says 8 wins is the floor. I think 11. You heard it here first.
No.
11 is the floor?
No, 8
No,
is
the
the
ceiling.
floor, he said.
Oh,
ceiling is-
8 is the floor. I mean, no, it's not, because even if you seal up a couple holes here, I mean, this defense is not going to be that good this year, and
Mm.
you don't, I mean, with Justin Fields, you could
I
get,
think it's the opposite.
you could get a lot in the passing game. You could also get a high turnover rate. You could also get a guy that's irresponsible with the ball, and you lose DJ Reed, you downgrade there at cornerback. You still have holes on the defensive line. 8 wins. I mean, it could easily go lower than that. Maybe even 6, maybe even 5.
Yeah, I mean, like I could see what you're saying, right? But I feel like it's vice versa. I feel like if the Jets' offense, I feel like is the main concern right now. At the defense, I feel like just had a down season. I think they'll be back. I think Steve Wilkes. I trust Steve Wilkes with his progress with the Jets this season. I think he'll get Sauce Gardner back on track. Which, by the way, Gardner didn't even have a bad season last year. He was a top 10 corner anyway in the NFL. But I think the offense for me right now is the main issue. Obviously, I think we have more holes on offense right now than defense, right? The receiver room is our main concern. We got to get a guy at right tackle, whether that be in the draft, such as Armand Membu or a guy like Will Campbell. And, I that's just what I think, especially if we're going to go a run first offense, you really need to prioritize and filling those holes on that side. And that's really what I'm concerned about most, because I believe Engstrand is a first time coordinator as well, if I'm not wrong.
I get that.
And-
At the NFL level, he is, but he's 8 years of play calling experience overall. Like I said, guys, keep the questions coming. We'll get to those. Pin comment at the top of the chat to call in. We got an electric caller up next, so we'll head over to him. Beastbreaker 666. Beast, how you doing?
I'm okay, except that I gotta hate to say this, but I have kidney stones.
I'm sorry to hear that, Beast. I'm sorry to hear that.
I'll be I addressed it on Jake's show that it's also due to nerve damage and also other parts of damage, but I want our boys to go get it. I mean, here's the thing with our boys. We got to get our heads out of the toilet and stop sniffing the bullshit and start saying, hello, Einstein, did you fall off your head this morning? Or did you forget to butter your bagel this morning? Did you forget doing that? I got some asshole is sending me bad messages saying F Jake Esmond. I was like, what? I said, who the hell wrote this? And I was like, it's some little asshole from Wisconsin was right now. I was like, hey, you listen to me, you son of a bitch. Jake Esmond's a good friend of mine, and I respect him. So
Calm
you don't
down,
play with
Beast.
me.
Beast. Sorry, we can't do the profanity on air. I'm sorry. I appreciate the call, but we can't have that. I appreciate you, Beast.
Appreciate you, Beast.
I appreciate it.
Love you, Beast.
We can't do that. All right, guys, keep the questions coming. Where were we here? Jimmy says you can always trade down. There will be teams that will get desperate come draft time. I did the column for JetX, teams that potentially want to come up. 49ers, Bears, and Buccaneers were my teams. You guys got any teams other than those three on your radars, potential team to trade down with?
I got the Saints, right? I think especially if you could trade with the Saints in this draft, right? Maybe trade a little bit further up. Maybe the Saints can get their quarterback, whether that be Shador Sanders if he falls to 7, maybe Jackson Dart. I don't think Dart is a 7th pick though.
Dart's going to be there when they pick though.
Yeah, maybe. I'm just saying the Saints are just on the radar. I wouldn't be surprised if the Jets trade him, but I like the team's.
What position would the Saints trade up for?
Probably a quarterback. I think. I don't like Carr. I don't think they like Carr anymore. Really.
What are the quarterbacks that would be available at 7 that they would want to trade up for?
Probably Sanders or Dart, right?
None of them Sanders isn't going to be there. No one's trading up for Dart.
You think Sanders is going to the Browns?
The Sanders, I think, is going to the Giants. I think they're still going to draft Sanders.
Even though they just signed 2 quarterbacks, he's still going to go to the Giants.
Yep.
So they're paying Russ and James for 1 year, and you're gonna say both of those guys are going to be on the bench this season. You don't think they're going to trade? You don't think they're going to save their quarterback?
I think they go late round and go like day 3 or 4 and get Kyle McCord or something. But I don't. If you just sign 2 QBs off the street and you pick there at 3, I just don't see it.
They're in love with Shador. I think they're going to take him.
Okay.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, in my opinion, right? I don't see it really, especially if you guys signing 2 guys. I didn't even see them signing Russ in the first place. Right? I thought the Browns were gonna get him when he visited.
This is what I
But-
was saying. It's only 1 year. Look at
Yeah.
that.
I could see that.
So
Right?
why you just said they're not going to take it though, and you just said you can see it though.
No, I
For
mean,
what?
I think they overpaid
Jack, you just
on
said
Russ.
they're not going to take a quarterback, and then you just said you could see it. Like, where are you now?
I didn't say that. Did I say that?
I just pulled up the Winston comment, and you said, yeah, I could see them taking a quarterback now.
No, I didn't say that.
You just said that.
I didn't say that. I'm talking about I could see them getting a quarterback in next year's draft, right? Especially if they start Wilson, because I don't see them selecting Sanders at 3 this year. I see them starting Wilson this season, going and get their guy like Nussmeier next year in the draft. I don't see them getting a quarterback this year's draft.
What
They're
about
gonna
if?
they're gonna win 8.
what
They're a
about-
sneaky team this season, bro. I'm telling you, they might win like 7-8 games.
What
think so?
about if the Cardinals want to make their push for Tet and try and team him up with Marvin Harrison?
I don't think they're going to take a wide receiver in the top 10 for the second year in a row. I think the Buccaneers could trade up for a corner. The Bears for Genti, and who's the last name? 49ers for Graham. Those are the legit teams I could see.
And
Do you
I
think
would
the Cardinals could trade.
and I
Murray,
would
though, to a
put-
team?
The Cardinals
put-
are not trading. They barely have any picks this year, too.
I would put. Do you think that the Steelers would want to trade up? I mean, I feel like Mason Graham just fits the bill in Pittsburgh.
He's not going
I-
to. They
I-
didn't
it's
take a
not bad.
quarterback. You kidding me? They didn't take a quarterback.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
have
yeah,
them
yeah.
taking- if
Yeah,
Dart's still
they're going to
available,
be
if
Jackson
they don't
Dart.
trade, I
forgot
think it's gonna
about
be
that.
Dart at
They have
20.
nobody. They have nobody on their roster. I forgot about that. But I mean, I just feel like Mason Graham. His personality just feels like Pittsburgh to me.
I
Personality,
think
right?
Mason Graham's going to go with the 49ers. Right? I put this in my article. Look at how Robert Saleh used Quinnen Williams. The 49ers don't have that guy. They need someone who's going to clog up the middle, going to be a force against the run, going to be a force against the pass. But I'm telling you, Mason Graham,
Yeah.
I just think he's going to Jacksonville. That's the problem. I threw a poll out at the top of the chat, guys. You guys want to see a mock draft? We've been talking a lot of draft talk.
Oh yeah, I'm down for that.
We could do a mock. Let me.
And speaking of like mocks, right, and talking about all this offensive and defensive, who's your guys under the radar guy, excuse me, for an offense and defensive guy to get? For me, my defensive is Darius Smith. I really like this. I really like this guy. Although
he's not
he
under the radar, though. I mean, he's an all-pro.
I get it, right? But I just feel like if you're asking me if there's some guy that Jets should go get on defense under the radar, and
He's not under the radar, though. He's 3-time all-pro.
I get it, right? But if you ask me, I'm just gonna say maybe a guy like I don't know. I had Smith in my notes, but if you're talking offense here, possibly getting, if we're talking draft wise, I like Josh Simmons at offensive tackle out of Ohio State. If we're getting him sometime,
You
Alright.
name one in the draft and one in free agency, though. Simmons is going to go in the first round.
if it's the draft, then possibly Keenan Allen to cover the cushion and that receiver.
Keenan
Yes.
Allen's a free agent. He's not a draft prospect. You just
No,
said
I'm talking about. I'm going back to free agency now. If we're talking,
you
about,
just said
talking
in the
about free
draft,
agency.
though, we could do Keenan Allen.
All right,
Right,
all
sorry, I
right,
apologize.
all
I meant
right.
to say,
Yeah,
free
Jack,
agency.
you did say in the draft you could get Keenan Allen.
All right, I apologize. I meant in free
But-
agency. Possibly sign him to like a 1-year deal or something like that, just to cushion the receiver room a little bit.
All right,
I
my
mean-
like under the. All right, go ahead, Connor.
Let me do that, and then we'll start. We'll fire up the mock draft.
Okay. Cam Warren, number 1.
Bro, I swear, all the good players are going to be off the board. This happens. I've done so many mocks today, and every single time it happens. Oh God. Oh, all right.
Oh, I forgot you have premium.
Yeah, bro, of course. All right. This is the board. I got
Tets off.
Tets off, yeah. I'm going to zoom out for a minute just so you can see the prospects. So you got Ashton Genti, Tyler Warren, Malachi Starks, Jahad Campbell, Armand Membu, Mike Green, Will Johnson, Luther Bird, and James Pierce. Let me know what your thoughts are here, guys, in the chat, and then we'll
I
go
think
ahead
you
and
guys
get
all
to-
know. I think you both know where I stand on this.
Mambu.
Warren, give me that. I mean,
It's
I'm
not
leaning-
the
I'm
year.
leaning
It's
Mike
not the
Green right
year
now.
you need a true playmaker.
I'm leaning
Solidify
Mike
the
Green right now.
offensive line.
we'll do a poll in the chat. That's what we'll
Yeah.
do.
I don't know why anybody would
Good
pass
idea.
up on Warren though. That's the thing, especially us. If we just let go of a solid tight end like Tyler Conklin,
Oh
and we
my-
need to fill that tight end
We
room,
did
right?
this last year. We could have gotten Brock Bowers, but we
I
didn't.
think
We
no,
wanted to
Olu was the
solidify
smart.
the
Olu was
offensive
the smart
line.
choice, right? Yeah, that's because we were in desperate need for that old line this year. We had a 40-year-old quarterback coming back from an Achilles injury. Obviously, we needed a
All right, I
good
threw the
blocker on
poll in
that
the
team.
chat. Vote on who we should
This year
select.
we
I'll give it a
need-
minute. I'll give it 1 minute until we vote. I'm telling you guys, Mike Green is the guy here.
You think
Mike
the
Green's
edge out
the
of Marshall?
So explosive off the end. Yeah,
hmm I can see that. I mean,
you need an edge rusher. Like, you
Jets
don't know what
visited
your
with
main-
Shamar Stewart today.
Yeah, I saw that. I mean, you're banking on pure traits with him. That's the thing.
Correct.
Like, there's no production at 4.5 sacks in 4 years in A&M.
Yeah.
Cole-
6 tackles for
Cole
loss.
currently split it
Nothing there.
50-50 directly on Membu Warren. You guys got 44, 43, 42 on
Hey,
the
let's
live
go.
count.
Membu, solidify the offensive
Warren.
line.
Vote at the top of the chat. 50-50 right now between Tyler
Vote.
Warren, Armand Membu. 0 votes. from
What's
my
the
boy Mike
overtime?
Green.
What's the overtime clock if we have to?
We're not going to overtime. Membu's at 60 now.
Yes. And
Get in
while
the
you're at
vote,
it, hit
guys.
that
Get
like
in the
button.
Vote, guys. Get in the vote. Yeah, hit the like too. Hit the like and subscribe. Let's go, boys. 2019, 18, 17. Vote in the top of the poll.
Do we have
My Mets are in cruise control over the Astros. AJ Mentor with a strikeout to get through the 7th inning.
All right.
Do we have I'm curious. Wait, can you go back to the prospects real quick?
Yeah, give me 1 second. We hold ended though. We're taking Membu.
Yes.
All right. All right.
Yes. Good job,
We're
guys.
taking Membu. What'd you want to say, Jack? Though.
Good job, Jets
About what?
GMs.
Would you want to say?
I didn't say anything.
Wait, no, Josh. You said you wanted to see the prospects.
Yeah, I did. I was just curious if there was like any votes for anybody besides Warren or Membu.
No.
No.
0 for Mike
Warren and
Green.
Membu.
0 for Will Johnson. All right, so Membu's the pick.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, you guys tell me about this one. There's a lot of I've seen mock drafts where people are taking Will Campbell before Armand Membu. Like somebody tell me
Yeah.
why that would happen.
Oh, this is so tough. Just took Membu.
I don't know. Maybe you got to go with safety here or another.
Yeah. Wait, is my boy Nicky Manwario?
No, he was just taking the pick.
No!
before us.
I would say Demetrius Knight because I'm a
Alright,
South
I'm guessing
Carolina
trade
fan, but we
down,
can't go
trade down.
linebacker.
Trade down could be fun if you could pick up. If you could pick up 74, I
Yeah.
would do that. Let me see.
Yeah,
All right, I'll
possibly.
throw the poll up.
And that would make what two third rounds in a row. Like that. That's pretty crucial.
All right, let me.
And then
Fire
after
up the poll.
after Cisco, you have Xavier Watts there, but you just got Cisco, so don't go safety. And then
Trade down. I'm gonna rule out safety. Xavier Watts.
I think that's the good move. You got to get a weapon in the third round too. If
I'll
you
throw
especially if
safety
you
in
have to.
there.
Get Bond in the third. If we get
Knight.
too,
I'll
get
throw
too
Knight
big.
in there, and then I'll throw in. Bond's not
nobody's
be
gonna
there.
vote for Knight. He's
Harrison. Harrison's gonna be interesting. Maxwell Harrison. The Jets met with him.
Shador Sanders is there at pick 46.
Yeah, it's messed up because it's based on the overall big board.
Oh.
All right, Matt. I just threw the poll up. You guys got a minute to vote on who we should select. I would personally take Siobhan Revel here, the cornerback from ECU.
Okay. I like
Is
trading.
trading
I like the
down
idea
an
of trading
option
down.
here.
Yeah, I like if you're gonna take a player, it's Siobhan Revel. Bro. Like, look at
I like the
look
idea
at that.
of trading down
Look
too.
at that. Look at that.
Yeah, solid.
What do you like
Especially
about Revel? What do you like about Revel overall as a prospect? Like, what do you like about his traits, Jack?
I like that he's very consistent in his abilities to play the game, right? Although I haven't really seen much of his tape yet. I've heard good things about him, right? I like his right there, he's very explosive athlete. I think he's the ideal corner in this second round, right? Especially because all of the ones is Will Johnson still on the board?
No
Will Johnson,
chance.
Higgins is there as well, so you could throw Higgins in. If
Who's
you
their
want
wide
Higgins.
receiver?
Jaden Higgins, Xavier Restrepo, Trey Harris,
Bond. Is still there.
Joshua. Watts is a safety. Knight is a linebacker. Harrison's a corner. There we go. That's the timer. Looks like trade down is the pick.
By a
Yes.
large majority too.
Might not
Wow.
even work though, because it's 51% chance. If not, we could just force the trade. We'll just do
Yeah.
that to be safe.
Yeah.
We'll force it. Let me end the poll first. All right, so we'll force this trade.
It's the official next gen.
I mean,
mock
there's
draft
just nothing
1.0.
there that moves mountains for me. Like no one there's
Yeah.
gonna be worth your second round pick that you're getting huge value on.
I like
I
the
love
idea of
This is
Rebel
Rebel
interesting.
Warriors,
Oh,
Stevens.
woohoo. I
Oh, you
love
got
this.
Arroyo.
Oh my god.
Oh my
No,
gosh,
not
where are we?
Arroyo.
Where are we?
You got Arroyo
57?
at-
Oh my god, there are so many good options here. All right, I'm gonna throw some in the poll.
I don't know. I like Arroyo is eyeing me a lot. That's
You mean
what I
you're
think.
eyeing Arroyo?
Yeah. My bad. I don't know. I like him a lot though. Especially
working
I'm
on the
surprised
poll.
he's still here too.
Jack, what do you like about Arroyo?
I like his receiving ability, right? Especially because he wasn't really much of a blocker last season for Miami. I like his connections with him and Cam Ward. I thought they had pretty good chemistry last year. And I like the athleticism. He's not that huge tight end that you think like a Rob Gronkowski or a Travis Kelce type of guy. He's more of much like of a slimmer, faster, very strong tight end. And if he has a lot of speed to him, like right. And I especially for a tight end, and I like his catching ability.
CB. All right, cool. So we'll do Ursary Thomas. We'll do Ursary Isaiah Thomas and Arroyo. If there are any other names that you want to throw in, just comment them and we'll take that into consideration. But
I
we'll
think
start the poll now.
I mean, I think cornerback here. What are we 57th pick? So yeah, cornerback. I mean, obviously you're not going outside of the first round unless you trade down for Will Johnson, which I just don't. I mean, you
I
kind
think
of
we
got
need
to
a
stand your
cornerback
ground
in
at
the
7,
other.
especially with a first year GM. You got to take that pick. You got to stand your ground there at 7. Jack is the next Ryan. Words are hard. I don't get that reference.
It's Ryan from Jets Talk 24/7, the GOAT.
Yeah. All right. But yeah, I think cornerback here at 57, if you train down here, this is the area where you can still get quality with Thomas, not have to reach, not have to overcommit. And I mean, especially because outside of Sauce Gardner, like what do we know that Brandon Stevens is going to do if that downward trajectory from a year ago continues? Like,
Right.
could you get third round value here that you can rely on, not just for this year, but for the future?
All right, polls over. Elijah Arroyo comes away. 71% of the votes go to Arroyo. He will be the Jets' pick here, as we.
Well, you needed a tight end if you didn't draft Tyler Warren. In the
Yeah.
Oh,
first round.
Ursary's still there. Ursary's still there. And we got back-to-back picks. Picks.
Oh, boy,
Let's
here we go.
All right. I'm thinking who to put on here. Elijah Roberts met with the Kevin
Is Bond
Winston.
still there?
Kevin Winston. Bond.
Is Bond still there? If he isn't, oh wait, yes he is. I like Isaiah Bond a lot at receiver. I really like his
110. Let me see. All right.
Chris Paul.
All right. Here's what we'll do. I'm going to throw a few in the poll because I can only put a certain amount. But if you guys have any other options, throw them in.
Okay.
Well, we also have back-to-back picks here, so whatever loses
What about
the
Chris
poll, we
Paul?
can also
Did
do
we
the
say Chris
runner-up.
Paul? Did we say Chris Paul is an option yet?
Sure. I'm working on them right now.
In the meantime, I want to talk about. I know we had this down originally, Jack, but we never got to it. It's what to do with Allen Lazard after you sign Josh Reynolds. So obviously, you have to cut him because, I mean, since all this Rodgers era stuff is done, but he's got to be post June 1st. It clears 11 of his 13.2 in cap. And if they cut him before June 1st, you have to eat $6.5 million. No reason to do that. You lose $4 million in cap space. So.
Yeah, I don't even know why he's still on this roster, and it concerns me because Josh.
Well,
Reynolds,
you have to wait because
they've already
you save $4 million.
No, not only that, they've already used both of their post June 1 designations.
Yeah.
So now they have to wait till June.
Rodgers and Adams, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, it's 33. Oh no, Chris Paul just took the lead. 40, 20, 20, 20.
Remember, you can vote for 2 because we have back-to-back 73 and 74 here.
Paul's running away with it right now. 31, 30, 29.
I wonder if drafting Chris Paul means you get 0 rings.
Maybe. Oh, Ursary took the lead.
Oh wow.
We need a tackle, guys.
Tight matchup here.
We don't need a
love Nursery.
linebacker.
Nursery met with the Jets too, and Joshua
do.
Farmer. Josh, I see you in the chat. Farmer is 318 pounds. Just take that in consideration. Oh my God, it's a tie.
Tackle.
Kevin Winston took the lead 5,
Take
4,
taking
Wow.
off the lineman.
Look
Come
at
on, guys.
this.
1. Boom. That'll do it. And
Kevin Winston.
Oh my God, he is someone who plays so aggressive. I love Kevin Winston. Someone who plays crazy. He's a hard hitter. He's going to be able to get downfield, accelerate for you. Super happy that Kevin Winston, we're able to select him. And now
Let's
you
get
have a
Bond in
similar
here.
pick of the crop here.
Wait,
So
I
Bond in this poll. I'm
we have
really
the
high on
entire
Bond.
same pool, but I forgot that we already took Membu, so maybe you don't go tackle here.
No. Oh yeah. Oh my God, I forgot about that.
I
Thank
know.
you.
I completely
Yeah.
forgot about that, and I was urging people to go tackle. Guys, we don't need another tackle here. We took Armand Membu with the 7th pick. I would go somewhere else. Maybe you do think linebacker.
I like the idea of Chris Paul, right? Especially if, since I know we just got Jamie back, but it's not a guarantee that Quincy's on this team next year. A lot of people are saying we're going to trade him, right? I don't see it, but I liked adding depth to this linebacker room, especially
Alright,
with
we
the
got-
only
we
really
should-
two
we should
linebackers.
go.
Who
I
else
trust
do we
this
have,
year.
Connor?
I threw Harris in there. I'll throw.
Add Bond in
good,
there.
good call. Good call.
No, Harris is the wide receiver I'm putting in there. And then
Alright.
I'll
I
throw-
don't think we've taken a receiver yet, so I feel like
Yeah.
that's got to be the focus point here.
I'll-
Oh
I'll
my
throw
gosh,
Bond in there,
Jalen
too.
Milrow. Oh no, Jalen Milrow. Second.
Oh, wait. Should we add McCord in there somewhere, or is he off?
No,
He's
no,
gonna be-
no. Why would we want McCord?
Or Howard? All right, let's see.
You
All right,
can't
just start
take
at
a
the top.
quarterback at
Poll is
74.
live. Poll is live. Top of the chat, folks.
It's got to be a receiver here, guys. We already. Oh, we did take tight end. We did take tackle.
Maybe we do go Chris Paul here.
Farmer's winning.
Linebacker's not an immediate need, but we haven't added any receiver depth, guys. It's
Jack, are you the
already
only
picked
one who voted
74.
for Bond.
Yeah,
You vote.
I had to vote
Harris
this
in the
poll.
lead. Let's see where we're at on the timer.
Spreading to a large
28,
margin.
27, 26, 25, 24.
What's looking like right now?
I've got a time here on the poll. 20 seconds to vote.
Who's in the lead?
15 to vote.
Trey Harris.
Trey Harris.
Good call,
wouldn't
guys.
mind
Good
Trey
call,
Harris in the 3rd round, bro. I wouldn't mind Harris at all.
Absolutely, and I agree.
I
And
like
especially-
his explosiveness. I like his explosiveness a lot. And
Connor, what do you think about the chat that says Trey Harris? He made
That's
Jackson
excellent.
Dart look good by Swamp Ranger.
yeah, it was Jackson Dart's only weapon. You guys know my stance on Jackson Dart. He's not a good quarterback. Oh, it ended in a tie. Oh my God, this
Oh,
is
we need to
something
do- we
we've
need to do
never seen
overtime.
before.
We need to
We
do
got to
overtime
do
now.
overtime. Farmer had 33. Harris had 33. Paul had 16. Bond had
A
16.
two-way tie.
All
All right,
What?
A
It should be
face-off.
30 seconds. 30 seconds.
30
Of,
seconds.
only 2 options.
All
Only
right.
those 2 options.
yeah. That's
Overtime.
Harris and
Overtime,
Farmer.
30 seconds. Get those chats in quick
Farmer.
once the poll's up.
Harris. Boom.
Here we
That's it.
go.
30 seconds. Let's hear. Let me get the timer set.
Guys, go Harris.
3, 2, 1.
And-
Poll live.
and-
30, 29, 28. Let's go.
Connor, and even after trading back with Carolina, I feel like we're getting good value here in the early 70s. So
for
I
sure.
wouldn't mind this at all
You
if
did the
this did play
back-to-back.
out on draft day.
Exactly. You trade back 14 spots and then you pick up the back-to-back thirds.
Yeah, and we're getting
Yeah.
good product here. And this is why. And does this really back?
I
If
second.
Trey Harris is here at 74 and you're drafting, do you really need Tent McMillan? Does he make that much of a difference as with as the difference between Armand Membu and the guys that are still here? What do we
hear,
got on the
ladies and
poll?
gentlemen, Joshua Farmer comes out
Wow.
with the victory
All right.
at 53-46, baby. Joshua Farmer, you are now a member of the NYJ. Now we don't pick all the way until 110. Oh my God. Okay, this is easy. This is easy.
Well, we already took tight end, but there's no
Yeah, we already
question.
took tight end.
I don't care. You need.
I don't care. I don't
Oh,
care.
yeah,
I
you
don't
could,
care.
you could, you
Yeah.
have to get room. Right.
Jeremy Rutgerd can kick dirt. See ya.
All right.
See ya, buddy.
All
Yeah,
right.
this is a pretty easy one. This poll shouldn't take long, guys.
All right. Yeah. Thoughts on Fannin, Jack?
He's solid, right? I like his catching abilities. I like when we watched the film yesterday. I know I was half asleep, but I liked what I saw out of him. I like a lot of his receiving abilities.
Crisp route runner.
What do you? Yeah, Josh. You want to add anything else?
Yeah, crisp route runner. For a tight end his size, he moves well. At pick, what are we at? 110.
110.
This is a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sanker.
What are your thoughts on
Now,
Gunnar Helm?
do we
I like
no,
Helm. I just take
not as much though.
Yeah.
But now, do we kind of regret taking? I thought we already took a 10, and did we not in like the
Royo,
second
yeah.
round?
I feel like we need boat too, though. Like I could see, like
Should we have gone Xavier Watts there?
I think Arroyo's
We
fine.
have a safety, bro. The clock's underway. I want to see if there's a
True.
wide receiver here. Horton, like at this point, I'd rather just wait it out.
You're not
Yeah.
adding anything. Who else?
Yeah.
Pat Bryant.
Yeah.
Especially if the Jets don't really have a good history.
I'd rather take like a
drafting
Dante
coaches
Thornton.
first round.
Yeah, Jack. What are your thoughts on Dante Thornton?
I think he's nice, right? I mean, his route running's nice for Tennessee, right? Wide receiver for Tennessee, obviously, when it goes to a great school for football, so you have that a little bit of leverage there, especially if you have great coaching there. I like his route running, I like his catching abilities, and I like his separation, especially for a 5th round guy. I think that's a
Yeah, for
I think
sure.
he-
20 seconds to vote. Deani Walker is in the lead. Some mistake, guys. Come on.
Didn't we just get a D lineman though?
Yeah, and we got a tight end too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Oh, Fannin took the lead.
Oh, we did.
there we go.
Oh no, now we're tied again.
He's tied. We
Let's
might
maybe go
have
into overtime. Let's maybe go to second
Alright,
overtime.
it's tied.
Is
So
there
we're
votes for anybody else? I'm not looking at the poll right now.
I'm gonna give it another minute. I'm giving it another minute. That's
Oh
fine.
no, that's cheating. That's cheating.
How's that cheating
You,
in a
you
mock
haven't
draft?
add.
In
Hold
a
on.
mock draft poll.
Hold on.
Cheating?
Listen. In our last tie, you didn't extend time. You put overtime.
Six, I already ended the poll.
Oh yeah.
That's
What-
cheating. Connor, you lose this draft pick. You have to give it up to the league.
Yeah, tampering, illegal tampering.
When
Yes,
do we pick
that is
next
the
after
league.
this?
The next Gen Jets listeners, no ball. Harold Bannon took the lead. Let's go.
Come on,
24 seconds.
guys.
Bro, Bannon, I did a film review on him earlier, like right before we went on here. So highly recommend checking that out after the show.
Yeah.
Just a freak of nature.
I
He's
mean,
a big
since-
wide receiver who can block.
Yeah, I saw a bit of that.
Since we're
He's
talking about Walker here, right? Obviously on the
Freak.
defensive side of the ball, right?
oh my god,
I
they're
just
tied
want to.
again.
Oh wow.
And we
I
got
just want to
five
get your guys' thoughts on this really fast. Coming off of Jermaine Johnson's injury, how do you think his production's going to be?
We gotta give it another minute.
We'll
We'll
it's that close.
10 seconds. We'll give it 10 seconds. How about
All
that?
right.
10 more
I mean,
seconds.
I think he's embracing this chip on the shoulder rule for Jermaine Johnson.
Yeah.
It's kind of a weird injury where some people like come back like just as good, and then some guys never return to their old form.
Yeah.
Like what, 7.5 tackles in 23, 50. 7.5 tackles. But then in week 2, tore his Achilles, right? So, I mean, he's going to be back for OTAs. He's going to be back for everything. I'm expecting a little bit of a dip if I had to guess.
Yeah.
Like 5
Harold
sacks,
Bannon Jr.
11 tackles for loss. Yes, guys. Yes.
Let's go. Harold Bannon, the
Right.
pick. Back up at 145.
I mean,
We gotta get some. If we're getting some receiver help, you
What are your
can't.
thoughts on Billy Bowman, Jack?
Billy Bowman.
Yeah,
What position is he again?
safety.
Safety. I think we need to add depth to the safety room, right? Especially if you only went. We didn't draft a safety, I believe, right?
yeah,
No.
but then just
No, we
take
didn't.
Xavier Watts out of Notre Dame.
Yo, watch one in the second round.
Yeah, I know, but we had that pick there, and then
Yeah, we took Winston. Winston's better than Watts.
Yeah.
no, we
I still
took
think you need
a raw.
You could add some depth to it, especially if your top 3
Pat
corners.
Bryant, I'm gonna throw in there. I'm gonna do pretty much wide receivers. Here.
Especially if your top 2 corner or safeties,
that's what we
like Tony
need.
Adams and Andre Cisco. I'd like to get at least a third one in there somewhere.
Let me see all the available receivers real quick.
The cornerbacks. Oh, we could throw Quincy Riley in there. Here's what I'll do. I'll do Pat. Who should we draft?
My boy O'Donnell Fortune in there.
We draft.
I think O'Donnell Fortune could be really good value, like 6th, 7th round. If you still need a corner there.
All right. We did Hoosie. Riley, Nash, Bryant. Vote in the poll. Vote in the poll, everyone. Oh, did we start the clock? We didn't. So we'll put about 40 seconds on it instead. There we go. And then if you have any other names that are not in the poll, throw them in the chat and they will be addressed.
So, guys, speaking of receiver here, right in the poll, if we're able to get another receiver here, how would that be in the conversation? How would that fit into the conversation of? I'm just branching out here for a second, talking about receiver. How would the conversation of can Tanner Angstrand unlock Malachi Corley? Like, where are you guys on this? Do you guys believe that he can? Because I feel like we didn't see a lot of people are judging Corley, I believe, too early. Yes, he made some significant mistakes last year, like dropping the ball in the end zone. Obviously some discipline issues like that. But I feel like with this new offensive coordinator, I'd like to see where he goes with Corley here because we didn't see much out of him last year. But I'm interested to see. I don't think he'll be a wide receiver too, really at all next year. But I'm excited to see. Like, think about Jameson Williams with the Lions, right? Williams wasn't really a fit until that our offensive coordinator Ben Johnson really found him to do something and his place in the offense. I'm excited to see if Angstrom can do the same with Corley.
I doubt it. I mean, I get that he didn't really get much production. The coaching staff didn't seem to like him. Rodgers had his three little friends, Wilson, Lazard, and Adams, that he'd just much rather throw the ball to. He obviously made that horrible mistake dropping it on the half-yard line. And the one thing is, I do think obviously he'll benefit from the change in scenery of the coaching staff, and playing with Justin Fields might help him because he's a mobile quarterback who can extend the play. I just don't see it. I just think he's a bust. Connor, what do we have on the poll here?
We'll do McCord. I'm not going to throw Shuck there because he'll be drafted before McCord, King, Stout, Colby. That's what I'll do. McCord.
I like McCord. I like the idea of getting McCord in the draft.
I like Upton. King. That's my pick.
Okay.
Stout.
McCord is just like a pure passer, so
He's Jared Goff.
Yeah. What about Howard? Is Will Howard still in there? Because I know he
he's
played in
long
a
gone.
pro style
He's long
offense. Yeah.
gone. He's long gone.
what about a guy like Dylan Gabriel?
Ooh,
No, he's gone.
No.
Jack, what do you like about Ohio State's scheme that really made it feel pro style for you?
I like the way that they utilized all of their players in this. Right, they found their guy in Emeka Egbuka, and then they found their guy in their other receiver, number 2. I forget his name. They used them to the point where
Ryan Williams.
Yeah, Ryan Williams. They used them to the point where I feel like he can. Right, because you see all these pro style offenses going pass first, really, and which is really what the NFL is really going to nowadays. All football, really, and you look at this. Right, Ohio State had a very spread out playbook, a really complex playbook. I watching their tape really pissed me off because I'm a Michigan fan, seeing them really good this year and what they can do with their offense. And I was just eyeing that throughout the season.
How's your UFL team doing?
I actually got to check on that right now. Actually, I think last time I saw they were winning at halftime 18-0.
Is anyone watching the UFL right now, guys? Denzel Mims is playing.
Oh, go Battlehawks, baby!
The Battlehawks? Where
Go
are they?
Battlehawks.
Where are they even from?
St. Louis.
St. Louis. Anthony Becht is their coach.
Oh
That's
my
all I know.
God.
I don't follow arena football. Kellen Mond is in the
It's not arena football.
Whatever
It's
it is.
basically.
It's
But only thing to come out of the UFL is the only good story last year was Jake Bates. Well, did you guys hear that he was like selling bricks right before the UFL signed him or something?
What?
and then his first like NFL game, he had the game winner for Detroit, and then he had the game winner
That's
three
awesome.
out of the next 4 weeks or something like that.
Yeah, I like Jake Bates a lot.
I don't think I can name
All right.
half of the teams in the
The
league.
pick is
though, I'm
in.
gonna be
The pick
honest.
is in. We're taking McCord. 55% of the votes. Sorry about that last time. I know we didn't make it known with Quincy Riley because we were talking about what's his name? We were talking about we were talking about Malachi Corley, but now this time McCord is the pick.
We
got
need another passer, guys. Really?
we got two picks left. We'll throw in
Brady Cook.
Monaheem. We'll throw in Monheim. We'll throw in Tafona.
Your boy Dante Thornton Jr. is still there.
Yeah, I
You're
know.
talking about him.
Monaheim.
You want him here, Jack? What are we at? 186, I think. My
Yeah,
eyes can't
186.
even read. That's too small.
Did you get enough sleep last night?
Monaheim.
I think I did. Shout out Jimmy Jets for the.
I know I did.
Elton.
Remember I was up
Looking
with
out for
Connor
me.
till like 2 a.m. the other night.
Yeah.
I don't have very healthy sleep habits though.
Me neither.
We'll throw Zeke Bidgers in there too. Let's see his size. Oh, 6'6", 320. Fans will love him. Zeke Bidgers.
Big guy. Really big guy.
Didn't we just take a D lineman? Or we passed on Thornton or something?
All right, make your pick, guys. Polls
so.
live. We got 2 picks left. Next pick, I'm only putting kickers on the poll. Literally.
Okay, wait. Let's factor in if we had an actual good kicker last year. How many times did Greg Zuerlein single-handedly cost us a game? Like against the Bills at home, for sure.
You guys wanting edge here.
Against the Broncos, for sure. That's 2 games Greg Zuerlein lost.
Edge.
Very inaccurate.
Fadil Diggs had a great pro day.
Oh yeah. Put him on there.
I
Out of
can't add him
Syracuse?
now, but write Diggs in if you want him.
Yeah, right Diggs in, guys. That's actually a good pick. Some more offensive line depth available, I see.
Yeah, Felton's winning the poll right now.
Okay.
All right, Austin says Diggs, though.
Okay.
1 vote for Diggs. Felton's still in the lead right now.
Jimmy Jett says Walker's Jr. over Diggs.
Yeah, still Edge only has 2 votes. Felton's walking away with this one, and Felton does win the poll.
Okay. All
So
right.
Ty Felton is going to be the pick.
How many
Oh,
receivers have we selected again?
This is the second one.
Second one. Okay.
Okay, yeah, I don't
No,
know.
it's actually the first true one, but you got Fan and then Arroyo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Last one, I'm only putting.
I'll
Oh
keep
no,
getting
we
Harrison
could,
and
we could
win.
throw some edges. We could throw an edge or two, but like, Diggs, and we'll do Walker Jr.
Yes, yeah, I think I would agree with that. 100%.
Who should we draft?
And then the kicking department. This is where the Bengals got McPherson, I think. I think they reached
Yeah,
him in
and
like
same
the
with the
6th
Bills
round.
with Bass.
What?
Brady got picked at 199.
Have any questions? Doesn't even have to be draft related.
All right,
Toss them in
those are the
chat.
kickers. Those are the kickers.
What are the kickers? I don't see the kickers. Can you put them up on the PFF page?
We threw the poll up.
I know. I can't see the
Gerald, go on the YouTube. Go on YouTube chat.
Okay.
Yeah. It's Gerald doing pretty good right now, leading the vote 50%.
Mm-hmm. See. Who's we almost done with the poll? Yeah, we should be done in a minute. Diggs and Fitzgerald are tied as we speak.
Okay.
For those interested in who we have already.
I'm interested in the kicker.
Am I allowed to vote?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
I'm interested in the kicker. If that's just
Oh, it's
I don't
tied.
know. Wait, we haven't taken an edge, right?
No. Vote at the
I'm
poll,
taking
everyone.
Diggs.
this
Guys,
might
I'm
go into
taking
overtime
Diggs
as well.
because It's tied
Oh,
at
wait,
Diggs
40%.
took the lead. Diggs took the lead.
Oh no, it's
at,
just tied
Guy,
again.
Yes,
oh, no, there he goes
57.
again.
oh,
there we
there
go.
it is. There it is. He took the lead. He won it.
There
Guys,
we go.
and
All right.
yeah, and I think
Morgales had no votes. Wow, he's such a great kicker too. So Diggs, Fadil Diggs, our last pick. All right, time
All
to see the final result of this mock. Oh god, they already hated our Kevin Winston pick. But Membu gets an A minus.
Okay.
Arroyo C plus. Don't like that. Winston C minus. Farmer B plus. Fannin B. Riley C minus. McCord A minus. Felton B. Diggs D plus. Overall grade B. Bottom 35. of
E
Jeff's
plus.
oh boy.
Yeah.
I mean, you listeners did this mock. How do you feel? How do you feel, guys?
I
Josh,
like the
think
overall
it's a solid
pick.
mock. I think it's a solid mock, Josh.
Yeah,
it's
and
not.
it's realistic too. I mean, I think
Yeah.
trading down with Carolina was the right move there because there was no go-to guy, and I like what we got after that. There was still good stuff on the board. I like Diggs and 207. Just get him in there.
Yeah, Lowski.
Yeah, King in the chat had a boy. We're all pumped for the season, pumped for the draft. But I think Diggs is a good pick because we really don't know what we're gonna get from Jermaine Johnson coming off this injury. Connor, you talked earlier in the show how you thought that the Will McDonald season was way overreacted to after a terrible rookie campaign. He came out 10 sacks, but you know, who knows what he brings to the table this year. Diggs, end of the 7th round, adds depth. I like it there. And there's always kickers that are going to be undrafted free agents.
I thought
so
it was
that's-
I thought it was a solid mock for sure. So I thought we did a good
Yeah.
job.
Yeah.
I appreciate you all tuning in here on the show. we're back. Chris and I on the show tomorrow night, 9:30, and then Jack, Chris, and I 9:30 on 7 p.m.
9:30, yeah, 7.
Sunday, 7 p.m. on Sunday. So I appreciate you guys checking in with us, hanging around with us here on the program. As always, you guys got any final thoughts? I'll throw it to you first, Josh. You want to share with the audience before we wrap things up here?
No, really solid mock, guys. Kind of thinking alike here. People in the chat. Nice picks. I like that we took Membu in the first round and not Tyler Warren. Good job, guys. Thanks for a great show. Jack and Connor, appreciate it as always.
course.
And see you back right next year, same time, last slot, next week at the same time.
Great job, Josh,
Yeah.
tonight. And again, I appreciate you, Connor, for giving me this opportunity to work 2 days a week with your show. Really appreciate it a lot. And my final thoughts are, right, I would give this overall grade probably a B plus, A minus around that range. I like the overall picks here. Except my only really complaint here is I'd like to, in just my opinion, I would like to go Warren at 7. That's just my personal preference, right? But overall, Membu is great, right? I like Membu a lot. Just if you're asking for my personal opinion, I like Warren at 7.
Appreciate you guys all tuning in here on the show. I'm Connor Long here from NY Flight Jets, talking with my guys Jack Cotter, Josh Williver, signing off here on Next Gen Jets. Appreciate you guys as always. Back tomorrow, I'm here on the show, 5 p.m. Cole Thompson, 9:30, Chris Grasso, Next Gen Jets. Appreciate you guys as always. That'll do it for us. Let me try to get these names right. Jack Cotter, Josh Williver, Connor Long. That'll do it for us. JETS.
Jets.